It's true that Sarah didn't have a significant criminal history or much of a criminal history at all, but some people start out small and build up to bigger crimes, and some people start big, and she started big. I think that it's a good thing that she's going to spend the next 50 years of her life in prison at least, because I think that she wouldn't have stopped with Hal Sasko if she hadn't been caught. Sarah Gonzalez McClin is a very broken person, and in some ways a tragic person. And I don't think that she could be fixed. I think she's exactly where she needs to be.
Sarah McClin is hard to label. What you see is a 19-year-old girl that is well-spoken. Her actions are inexcusable, but she appears by her own description of herself socially isolated, who knows she's different from other people. It would be hard to really say or put a label on Sarah, but I can certainly say that it is the most horrific murder that I've been a part of.
When the police went inside, they did find, of course, a lot of blood on the floor, and they also found the word freedom written in blood on the wall near where Mr. Sasko was laying.
When she soaked the towel in blood and wrote freedom on the wall, like, you don't hear that every day. That's just something out of a movie. That just strikes you and that stays with you. And just this whole case and the heinous crime of it, that's what you remember.
Sarah's a very intelligent young lady. I mean, she's well-read, she's very intelligent. I think it's probably one of the most planned out cases I've ever worked, whether it be a robbery, murder, or anything. It's very, very planned out and very well executed from the plan that she put together. So she's very calculating in that regard, and her intelligence, to me, showed through when she describes the plan and how she carried it out. So I found her to be a very articulate and intelligent young lady, and somewhat diabolical the way she did it.
Well, the shock value, I mean, we had a lot of crime and murders and things like that in the Topeka and Lawrence area. We cover that stuff all the time, but this story was different just because of the shock value. You being in court and listening to all these just grisly, gruesome details, it was just unbelievable. And I was in court listening to all the testimony, all the evidence, things like that. I couldn't believe it. And so reporting it to the people, everybody was shocked, and it was one of those stories that just kind of blew you out of the water.
The best I thought we were going to do was hang the jury up. I could tell there were some people on that jury that weren't listening. I thought there were some women on that jury that were listening. Either that or get a hung jury and get what we call on the grid, where you get away from a mandatory sentence of 25 years and you get on a sentencing grid where you get good time credit for your crime. So she'd be looking at maybe 12 or 15 years. Well, it came back guilty, and she didn't start crying until we got back in the cell. I don't know that she was shocked. I know she was heartbroken.
She was found guilty of first-degree murder, and we were very, very relieved at that verdict. But that was part of the case. The next step in the case was to determine whether or not she'd be eligible for the hard 50 sentence.
The courtroom was really tense. It was really quiet. And Sarah did address the courtroom and the Sasko family, and it was the first time I'd ever seen her speak. I've never seen her speak at any other court case or trial. And she looked at the Sasko family and she was crying, she was sobbing, and she just said she was so ashamed of herself, and she regretted that this happened, and she hoped they would forgive her someday.